Yeah, I was thinking what could be the best topic to speak about here in the product design meetup and about the customer feedback. What could be the best for me as a designer, and what would I like to hear? And I was thinking to tell my 5, let's say, learnings as a UX researcher. What I would be happy to hear if I just started this step in this field. So one slide about me. I'm working in Infogram and focusing on user experience around 3 years. I have overall pretty rich background of any possible design fields, as you see. And this is me with my most successful project of my life. It's my daughter. And yes, I'm working in Infogram. Infogram is a product of Prezi. Since, I guess, 2 years ago, we got acquired by Prezi. And who knows what's Infogram and what they do? A lot of people. Okay. Then shortly, we help people to tell inspiring stories through data, mostly. And we have 5.2 million users and many, many clients all around the world. Here you see how people actually make workshops and trainings in different countries. They sent us also photos. We had like ambassador program where specific Prezi Infogram ambassadors was going to the countries and teaching people how to visualize data. And yes, we are part of the bigger family, Prezi company, who is also helping people to be inspiring presenters to spread the message, and with the help of this nice, unique platform as a Prezi. So, user research. How does it feel from the user research perspective? It's something like, imagine you are going into the expedition. So, and you as a researcher, the main task is to give your team and your product the picture of reality. So to tell them what's out there and what are the users, how they behave, what they live where they live, where they work, and so on. And from the expedition, you usually bring some artifacts. So as a drawing, so for example, if it's as a metaphor, expedition to Africa, you bring some drawings of lions that live there, how the big elephant is, and also what are the people living there in savannah, how they do and how they live. And imagine that research, if it is inside the company, maybe it could be called not even like specific department as research, but like on overall level, if the company doesn't know what's out there in reality, they have a different perspective of what kind of animals live in savannah, let's say, and what kind of users are on those continents. For example, antelope is pretty different from in reality. What animal is this? Anyone can guess. It's elephant. And this one will be more difficult. What's this beast? Crocodile. So it's example of what perception of this reality might be, and what conclusions you as a product might have if you have this different view on things. UX research in a product looks something like this. This is my everyday life, what I'm doing, and while I was working into different projects within the Infogram, different researches, I decided to make these 5 points of learnings. What can I share with you? So the first one, focus on product strategy goals. As simple as that. But usually when you get your hands on research, on feedback, on some kind of different exploration mode, you go to the clients, sometimes you forget that your research should be really tied to the product strategy. And best combination how to plan your research is 1 quarter ahead of what your product actually planning to do. It's not even in design, in development phase, but you know the strategy, what is the year main goal, and you think ahead. You plan the big discovery research at least 1 quarter ahead. So why should we do that? It helps overall product to discover what to build. You bring from your research some findings, and it helps to fill the backlog. If it's already in design phase, it's already started, then your task is to be a validator of a launched feature, and you actually, yes, try not to slow down with, wait, we do research and check if it would work. No, when it's already start designing, go to prototypes, validate, and do not slow down your team. Some example of how we in Infogram went for the strategy big goal. We had, I guess last year or year before, like the big goal, we need to expand the teams, the team clients of the Infogram. Not the single users, but we actually wanted to make users to create teams and use Infogram on the team account basis. So yeah, to continue, we conducted the Infogram team research, which consisted from the 4 stages, big stages. First of them was, of course, make interviews, go to clients, call to clients, collect this reality picture and facts about how do they work in teams, how do they collaborate, where they work, do they sit together, do they have different departments. So we did research to find the problems, and on the second part, we actually analyzed the findings, figured out some ideas how to fix the problems, and also it helped to validate existing initiatives in the backlog. So does this make sense to develop still, or we can make priority lower for some features? So yeah, that's the benefits of thinking ahead, and it's blur because it's GDPR, you know. But the sense is that we had all the tasks and features, and we did prioritize things and went through the user journey and see where they live. Second, learning. Interview your stakeholders too. So I guess Mike has also a good point on this. Remember that you don't have only your users. You also have some business tasks and business goals of your company. And each of your department also have a different expertise that you could use in your research. So your research should also collect those from your team. So product management is one who is in charge of a company strategy. Sales support, customer success, features. They know about features users request. It's not, don't come to you with a feature list that you need to develop, but they know what users ask for, and you in charge to gather those and through your research understand, does it make sense in this point together with the strategy. Experience, design department usually have a lot of knowledge within experience, and development knows a lot about resources, how much time it would take to develop, and you need to take in mind this too. Yes, and by combining this stakeholder research, you would get these nice 4 things. So you will be aligned with the strategy, you will know the impact, you will know the previous experiments in design and UX within the product, and you will know how much effort and how much it would cost to develop or consider even to make. Third learning is use qualitative plus quantitative, and even better, twice them to make any conclusions on your research. Mike, hands up, thumbs up, you also had this point. I'm a researcher who comes mostly from the data perspective because actually I had hard times when you articulate only with qualitative data and you need to back up them with quantitative data with numbers from the both sides. And because of those, so you did 10 user interviews, you are full of enthusiasm that you found a lot of things and hypotheses, and you come to your team and there starts this discussions around that. Are you really sure that from the 10 users it's a real problem? And this is the moment when you need to come to many other methods just to back up your findings and to be sure that it's the real problem that you actually spotted. So there are different methods that help to take this on discovery phase, this qualitative like data contextual inquiry, participate in customer success calls or any feedback calls, support calls, just listen what they talk about. Time to time it may be useful just to build this empathy and feel the people. Stakeholder interviews, of course, some prototype tests and user interviews, and of course validation. I guess the biggest thing that actually help articulate with data is behavioral analytic tools. It's not the Google Analytics, it's another thing. It helps you to track specific user events. So what are their actions within the tool? And it would help you to build not the metrics which are based on conversion or some really generic things, but it would help you to build really detailed funnel that the user who onboarded through this and that, how do they convert? Yeah, and of course A/B test, still old but good. Surveys. And historical data analysis and benchmark research, also really awesome when you can make research on your competitors or bring the benchmark on your like overall year ago history and see how it rises or lowers. And yes, we also use some tools to gather feedback, and it's for the question about tooling, we have a really huge Trello board where our awesome customer success and customer and support places any feedback that goes. They categorizes it, and in Slack we also have notifications when new feedback comes. It's good to have, just in case you have some big goals for the product, and you can turn here to find if there are some support for your ideas. It's also good just to have in Slack those, and you the loop. You are just reading through. Every time it appears, you read it through. It sits somewhere in your head. So it's good just to be in the background of a feedback. Customer success is the people in company who is talking to customers so often that you cannot even imagine. So they are really into customers, they are really into those problems and features they ask. They are perfect source of any information about you, about the customer. So the researcher definitely should use this expertise for the research. And of course, we have internal workshops when we collect knowledge and the perspective of our workers, and behavioral analytics. As I said, it's the really cool thing to have in a product. Number 4, invite the team to play part in research, gain trust. it's also really important, just to help them build empathy. It's one. Another is to bring more diversity in your findings analysis. Because if you are the one person who just speaks to the clients, speaks to the user, comes to the office and sits and creates report and just goes to your team with some already prepared 4 bullet points of ideas, it's barely work really well. Because there are no trust, there are no understanding how you went to these conclusions, and there would be some gray points. Yeah, it's about me who tried this out once, that you created your report, really happy, yeah, I did really great job, and then no. because you need to gain trust from your team, and if you are the person who worked on the research and no one was actually involved in the process, you will have hard times to pushing your findings. Where is the good moment to actually invite your team to start analysis, to help with some idea generation? Straight away when you just did some first interviews and downloaded the findings. So bare facts, it's not your interpretation, it's facts inside that you gained from users. And then you can invite your team, share, and try to find the common themes, try to analyze, try to come within with ideas. And in the last section, when you make conclusions and already ideate and create those ideas, again, design can switch on and try to help from user experience perspective, figure out which ideas is really nice to have. We did the same things in Infogram, and I will show one case study, how we collaborated. So we had one task. So we just launched some new project types within Infogram, and we knew that users actually create something like this. And we thought, oh my God, how to make them create something like that? Really nicely looking visuals, and how to raise the quality of the outputs. What we did, first of all, we started with just design workshop. We tried to figure out our experience from our the field, what would be those things that could help. Then we arranged the same session within developers and within the sales and customer success team. Customer success and sales are really good into saying the impact of different initiatives. So those ideas they came up with, they arranged in terms of the impact on this specific problem that we had. And also marked what would be nice to have, what is really cool idea, and what's probably is something for the future. For the developers and development, they're really good at the effort. And they brought and filtered out the ideas on the effort scale. For this, actually, they have really different ideas and perspectives, but they are all really cool. So do not underestimate the power of brains of your team. So for comparison, when we did the same thing within design department first, we came up with this amount of ideas, and we made this matrix to understand that usually this sector is the one where you should focus because it's the most impact and the most less effort is needed. Those sector is most for the strategy for the company. And when we combine the whole learnings, we received a bigger amount of ideas, a bigger amount of the context, and different perspective on the same thing. So it made us really happy, and we we filled the backlog with lots of really good ideas, which was implemented. Fifth learning. I'm in time. Okay. Expert and novice users treat them differently. Time to time, we actually forget. It was my fail in the beginning, that you actually need to understand that the 1 month user is not equal to 6 months user. They have really different actually, not only how they use product, but what's their use case, what features they request, and what features they will really appreciate within your product. So for the new registered users, that's fresh ones, they usually come to the product to perform some really basic job to be done. So they had some problem, they came, if they can make it, it could be really small. They won't use any advanced, really cool features of your application or software. They will perform really basic thing. And they usually request some use cases, additional use cases, and they have like complaints about some main job. If it's not going smoothly, this first experience, they usually complain about those. Next stage is engaged users, which return to your product after some time. They need advanced customization of this basic job. They start to ask for some specific new tweaks. And they also, I don't know, maybe it's specific just for us as Infogram, they ask to somehow collaborate with other tools they use daily. Is it possible to make my Excel within your tool, or to grab this Photoshop file within this program? So they try to connect existing environment that they have, the tool set, with your product. So they usually ask for this. And for the expert, they use to ask for the features that helps to make things faster, so optimize. They are really eager to collaborate because they already have somebody who also is interested in this product. And they are really want to be sure that the features are easy learnable. So they don't want to spend time to learn something new to be the expert in your tool. What is the hours user scale of experience, how it changes through the usage cycle? And there are one research which was focused on engaged users. So engaged user, who are you? It was the main question that we wanted to figure out. How we made a sample for this research. We take a cohort of a user, for example, who registered in Infogram and stayed with us within 6 months. And we took this specific sample of users, which from the day one last to the 6 months, or I guess the sample was 4, 3, 5, 6 months, something like this. And made at least 5 projects, and they have 5 projects in the library. Once or twice in a week, create the content, and we try to take variety of segments. So it's not only educational users, but also from business segments. And after we talked to these users, we made interviews, we figured out that they are different type of actually different type of interaction with our product. They are acting differently. They came to the Infogram with one same task, actually. But how they evolve during the usage cycle, it was differently. We see that after 4 months, you're asking something like this. After 1 month, you actually have pattern using it like that. And in 6 months, you make the full capacity of all interactivity that we have in the product. So yeah, we figured out dependency among user experience and product and feature requests. We defined the impact of features on different user segments. Is it for the new ones? Is it for most like expert? And yeah, we actually collected a lot of nice feedback how and why they decided to stay with us and stick. It was a lot of warm and pleasant words for the team, and it was really inspiring for them. Yes, and to conclude, this was my 5 key learnings. Of course, there are many more, and if you are curious, you can ask in the coffee break. And yeah, I hope it was useful. And how many user insights your team saw? First one was from Pavel. Pavel, are you here? Yes, I see you. So, your top 5 tips conducting qualitative and quantitative user researches. So, as I said, except those 5 that I taught today, there are 5 more. So, first of all, golden rule, use both. Do not exclude one from another. Be gentle with findings communication. I know that researchers tend to have a passion to, they figured out that something is not working and user have an issue, and you like coming to the team, it's not working, it's bad, and so on. But be gentle, please. Your team is really putting those souls into this product and make things nicely. Do not do several A/B tests in parallel. Learnings for us, because if something goes bad, you don't know why. And they can combine different combinations that you will just, your mind will blow. Invite team to interviews. I guess it's something also from what I saw, because they, especially developers actually, it's really, it's hard to convince them to do so, but when they do, they are really happy they came, because they see how the feature is used and where are the problems. I'm not saying about designers, those like the must to participate on interviews. And be actionable with findings. Do not put them in a drawer somewhere under carpet. Have an understanding that if you're researching something, what you will do with this. So you need a plan. It shouldn't be a poster on your wall in the office. Be actionable with those. It's okay? I answered? Marcus, not here. How would you describe a sustainable product design? I've tried to think about this from the digital product company. And of course, sustainability is about to lower environmental bad impact. And from the digital company, what we can do as a part of these digital products, I guess to work on the loading speed, your outputs of your product, because it also matters, because all devices, servers, and it also helps environment if speed of loading is lower. Pushing people to use digital interactive visualization instead of printed ones. It's a point for us, so I can tell about our product. We are trying to move people from the print to digital, to providing them more benefits, and as we see, people who stick to our product switching from downloading PDFs to interactive outputs. So we are in a good form in terms of that. From Lega. Lega? Lega is not here. Okay. How would you decide on something if customer feedback versus science and practice versus your gut feeling have completely different opinions? Thanks. So, what can I answer on this? Your gut feeling is really bad argument. So I guess everyone could agree on this. If your gut feeling is not aligned with the data and with user insights, then maybe you should just silence your gut feeling. Or if you're still thinking that there might be something, just do more research. It's obvious. Qualitative, quantitative, if it's not aligned, try to make hypotheses from what you know and make a fast A/B test. It would give you any answer. Gut feeling is not okay to guide you from this. Yes, that's all. So the same is for Mike. What kind of tools you use gathering customer feedback? And in UX research, example, Google Analytics, CMS, enabled features. To gather customer feedback, we also use the same, we use really a lot of channels. It might be same support, customer success, which are with the clients, is from those that I mentioned. We collect feedback from the same NPS window. I know the skepsis about that from design community, but we have it, not about for the score, but actually for the comments. And it's like the chance for the user to leave those feedback and opinion at some point. And we actually scroll through those and read those. What else? Behavioral analytics, we use Indicative as a tool for it. It's a big platform which allows you to instrument different type of events in your product and track those, make funnels. We use Miro, real-time board in the past to go away from the sticky notes because it's really painful to rewrite from those to digital format and it's a waste of paper again. What else? I also used Silverback, which is dead now, I guess. It's not available online. It's a software that helps to record the screen and the face of participant at the same time. And we use Zoom for the remote interviews. It's about the tooling.
Thank you for your presentation.
You're welcome.
My first one will be about how you decide how many users to interview and what are the benefits of physical interviews versus gathering data in the internet online.
So first one, usually I know this formula that it's 5 enough, 7 better, and so on. And usually you have this feeling of saturation of information. And if you're still coming into something new or you are not covering some client segment, for example, you see that almost 3 or 4 interviews so far are, for example, a marketing person, and you know that your data will be biased, then you try to gather more. In my experience, it's 10, 12. And you try to pick different segments. It's not necessary to make 20, I'm sure. 5, it's too low number. For usability test is okay with 5. But if you are making discovery interviews and exploration, then it's better to go for more because there might appear something. And the second question was about...
What are the pluses of the physical interview?
Physical, yeah, versus remote?
Versus online gathering.
Online gathering. Okay, because there are differences even from remote. Physical, of course, you are with the person and you see all emotions, or you can talk and more freely, let's say, build communication and dialogue. And it's usually more like friendly chat than filling the survey unpersonal just to bot or making some short message about how your feedback was. It's always difference from remote and on spot, of course, is to have a chance to see where a person works. And it's better to go to the interviewee place, not invite them, because they might be biased when they come to your office. You see your fancy office, nice perks, coffee. Of course, I like your product. It might be like that. It's good to have both. I would say this, because you're most, maybe you might be more open when you give some short amount of feedback. But on the online, it's the same as you talk with the person via SMS. It's not the social chat and talk. So I wouldn't say they are equal. I would evaluate live dialogue higher than feedback.
Okay, thank you. My second question will be, do you create personas If no, why not? And if yes, what would be the benefit compared to user interviews?
Mm-hmm. Personas is a tool to, when you had a lot of interviews, you have an idea of your user, you create persona as combined one. You cannot base your persona only on one data source as your inner knowledge in the product. You need to have a lot of knowledge about your user from different sources. We had personas to build user journeys and see where they can drop away and fail. But this happens only after you collected the rich study and you have all the knowledge. So, and then what was the last? I'm sorry, I'm losing context while talking.
What would be the benefit compared to user interviews? Just create persona.
It can save you time not to conduct interviews on the same basically topic. You can pick user persona with already like a canned knowledge and use it through. But it requires a really nicely built persona and really nice understanding why it is like this. So only persona based on some your ideas and some digital data is not enough. Yeah, you need to have this life aspect. Mm-hmm.
Hi, how do you deal with the situations where you find out that different groups of users essentially have quite different preferences on a certain issue, and basically do you pick some middle way, or you maybe decide whether to please one or the other group? How do you
Of course, higher priorities might have a bigger funnel. The bigger funnel is the new users. And this magic moment of engagement is the main goal of a product. And if the specific features that work for those users, that we mostly focus on those.
So new users, instead of, you would prioritize new, basically conversions, acquisitions, instead of satisfying the old ones.
Old ones, yeah. Yes, because the old one and retaining users are already engaged. They need another type of features. And of course, we also do for them. But if we know that there might be something that could bring up the bigger funnel, we will go for it. So there also are some specific enterprise segments, and they have those specific requests, let's say so. And of course, it's always a dilemma when to go for this specific feature, because you know it would be used for like 1% of users, or you should just put it away and ignore and say it's not our strategy and our product is not like that. So you need to evaluate. Is it will potentially be good for the users who have this journey from the new one to enterprise? There are always this kind of lot of discussions to get this sense what's the business and what's the user and how to merge them at some point. But yeah, top of the funnel and engagement as a main focus, of course.